What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another set of games for the Call of Duty League Super Week Day 5. Today is February the 26th, Friday, and I am looking forward to looking at the set of 3 games that we have today for the Draftkings slate. I'm going to be going over the prices like always. If you just stumbled upon this video, I do Draftkings daily fantasy slate analysis. I break down the prices. I give my opinions on what I believe are the best values on the slate so that you can make money in your contest. These are strictly my opinions. Don't take my word as the law, obviously. I try to find the best values so that I can use them in my lineups and you can use them in yours as well. And this channel also is going to be providing a lot of Call of Duty League content in the future, as well as a lot of FPS content related to daily fantasy, and just so we can make money on betting and daily fantasy, daily leagues and season-long leagues in general. So with that being said, I wanted to recap what happened yesterday, Thursday. For the games we had yesterday for the CDO Super Week Day 4, we saw some interesting matchups, and the main one that I want to talk about is the New York Subliners against the Minnesota Rocker. They 3-0'd the Minnesota Rocker, so that changes everything for us. We now see NYSL as a team that has commanded respect. We have to look at them differently now. They have commanded respect. They showed what they had against LA Thieves. I talked about that yesterday. And now we saw what they really have against the Minnesota Rocker. So to 3-0 a team like that, is saying something. Whenever they're clicking together, when they're in sync, they can be dangerous. They can be a nasty team. So that was a very good game to watch. LAG lost 3-1 to Optic. I believe I called it that way, 3-1. I don't know if I put them on my Call of Duty pick'ems. For those of you who are new, who are watching, just so you're aware, Call of Duty has a Pick'em tab, like the Call of Duty League website, callofduty.com. They have a Pick'ems tab where you can go and you make predictions on what you think the games are going to be, like what do you think the results are going to be, and you have a chance of winning prizes. It's not sponsored. I just think it's a cool idea, so in case you want to do that too, it's pretty fun. I think I called it 3-1. I said LAG might have taken a round, and yeah, they did. They took a round from Chicago, but Chicago eventually just beat them out 3-1. That was a good series too. And LAG, Florida Mutineers, they lost 3-1 to the Atlanta FaZe. That was expected as well, and I didn't think they were. I didn't know if they were gonna get swept, but I knew that coming from that Paris 3-0 sweep they had, they were gonna try their hardest, to get something done against the FaZe. Unfortunately, they didn't get the win for them, but FaZe was just showing out, and FaZe is pretty dominant. I think they're 4-0 right now, so FaZe is a pretty legit team, pretty scary team to say the least. So that was a brief recap of what happened last week, but now let's get on to talk about today's Friday's games. So for the first game of the day, we have the London Royal Ravens against the Los Angeles Thieves. Now, the Los Angeles Thieves have not had any luck this season. They have been getting swept and getting beat by teams left and right. I believe they are 0-3 right now on the season. I don't want to jinx this. I don't want to say I don't think they're going to win. I don't know who's going to win. I just think that anything is possible at this point. They're going to win at some point. And their group, who can they beat? Who can they beat? Can they beat the LA Thieves? I'm not sure. Really, I think it's going to have to be either the LA Thieves or the Seattle Surge, who they're going to beat, because it doesn't seem like they can beat Dallas. It doesn't seem like they can beat any team that they faced, whether it be Dallas or New York. Um, you know, I really believe, based on these lines, if you look at the odds, LA Thieves are at minus 800 to win, favorite to win. London Royal Ravens are at a plus 450. We've seen these odds, teams have gotten upset. And I believe the Thieves could be a team that could get upset. I mean, they've been playing good, but if the Minnesota Rocker can get upset, and if the Florida Mutineers can get upset, I think they can get upset too. But um, I want to play devil's advocate here, and I don't think they're going to beat the LA Thieves. Um, I think it might be like a 3-2 win. I think they push them to the brink. You know, the London Royal Ravens are starting to figure each other out now. Um, Parasite is actually a decent value. He's actually been performing good. He got 101 points against Dallas last game, and he was at 6,000 then. Now he's at $7,800 for his um price. Uh, if he keeps it up, if he keeps posting those numbers, that's actually a good price for him. 7,800 is a good price for Parasite. Um, Shawnee, uh, Shawnee is at 8,000. I don't know if that's a good value for him. He got 102 points against Dallas last game. And that's because they pushed it 2 games, so they had enough room to score more points. But prior to that, against Dallas, against New York Subliners, against Seattle, he didn't really do too hot. Neither did Alex or Dylan. So for the London Royal Ravens, I'm just going to fade them until they get a win, and I can see how they look like when they are clicking and when they are synced together. Because so far we haven't really seen them, other than with Dallas, they pushed them 2 games. They pushed it to game 5. Um, I'm not so sure how they look like when they're playing, their best Call of Duty. So I'm just going to fade them completely. I'm not going to be exposed to them at all. Um, but for as the uh, LA Thieves, I really believe that Temp is still at a good price. 8,200. I called it yesterday. I said Temp was, he was too cheap. He's too cheap. Um, Last game yesterday, he posted 122 FPS fantasy points per game on Draftkings, and he was at 7,000. I called that. I said he was too cheap. I liked him at that price, and today again I like him at 8,200. They raised his price $1,200, but I still feel that at the flex position against this team, he has a lot of upside. As the cheapest player in the LA Thieves, I still like him, and he's probably gonna be one of the players I'm exposed to from this team. Um, I really like Temp. I think he's one of the good value plays, and I think you should look at him. Uh, you know, do it at your own will if you put him in your lineups or not. He's had 100 plus point fantasy points per game since the season started, so he might be undervalued still. So get in while you can if you want. Temp is a good player at a good price. TJ Halley, um, TJ Halley went absolutely nuts. He's been going nuts. Um, he posted 160 points against the Seattle Surge last game that they beat them. He posted 114 kills and 85 deaths. So he went really positive. He did really good. He was at 7,800, so that was an insane value for him. That was insane. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna do that again. He's probably not gonna reach that high of a ceiling again. We know now that his ceiling is 160 against these lower teams. Um, but for the most part, his price skyrocketed. That's what I don't like. His price, his price went up almost 2,000, almost $2,000. I think it went up $1,800. That is a lot. Um, but he went off. That's his flex position. His captain position is at 14,400. I don't know if I'll ever put him at that spot right now. Um, that might be a good play. 14,000 against the London Royal Ravens. That might be a good play. I'm not exactly sure, but we have yet to see if they can maintain this rhythm that they have. The LA Thieves are 3-0, and it is yet to be seen if they keep this momentum going. If TJ Halley and Temp keep going off, they keep this momentum going, they're gonna beat them. They're gonna be 4-0 in the season. Um, and they are fighting for. I'm not exactly sure what seed they're fighting for, but they are looking for a good placement for the major coming up next week, I believe. Um, Kenny 8,400 at the flex spot. He threw a dud last game, 71 fantasy points, 81 kills, and 98 deaths. So he went really negative. I'm not looking at Kenny in this spot because I think that for $200 less, you can get Temp, who has a higher ceiling than Kenny. Um, Not a higher ceiling because Kenny's posted 135, but I feel like Temp is in a better spot to where he can perform better. Kenny, 12,600 for his price. I wouldn't put him at cap ever. It would, yeah, I wouldn't put him ever. That's just me, but he's a decent play for 200 bucks more, I guess. He has a good upside, 135. Slasher at 9,000. He's a good play. I like him at 9,000. He showed his upside is 124. That's the highest he's ever gone so far. Last game he went 104 points, 89 kills, 90 deaths. He went negative slightly, but he came out on top. Now for 9,000, I think 100 points is kind of low. I think other players will post way more than 100 points for less than his flex position. So I might be fading him for today. But those are my favorite picks. If I had to pick two or three from this game, would it be Parasite, Temp, and TJ Halley. So those would be like my picks for this game, my favorite picks. So let's move on to the next one. For our next game, we have the London Royal Ravens against the Toronto Ultra. Now, if you saw Paris Legion's last game, you'd be amazed because this team, like, you could literally bet your house that this team was going to lose to the Florida Mutineers, and they came out and they swept them clean 3-0, and it wasn't even close. It was just a domination that the Paris Legion imposed into the Florida Mutineers. They lowered their morale. They just, they stunned the league basically. So now you got to think to yourself, was that a fluke, or is the Paris Legion a decent team? You know, you got to really think to yourself, it's too early in the season. We don't know. So, I'm going to go over their prices and I'm going to analyze them individually just to give them that respect, that they earned from basically sweeping one of the best teams, one of the teams we thought was the best. Um, it might have just been a fluke, who knows? But on the Paris Legion side, a couple players stand out to me. Scraps always stands out because just like Temp from the LA Thieves, Scraps seems to be that one player who Draftkings always lower his price. His price is so low all the time. Yet he's like arguably the best player in that team. If it isn't fire, it's him. He's a beast. The guy's a beast. At 7,200, I really, 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 really like Scraps. You know, I feel like he is a very underrated player. And if they go, let's say they take 2 rounds away from Toronto, or they take one, they go 4 games. I feel like Scraps can post a decent stat line that will make his price worthwhile for him. Because at 7,200 for a flex position, he can give you 100 points easy. If they push it to a fourth game, you know, uh, if they push it to game five, they can do it. Um, so I like his price there. Cap, not so much. Obviously, I think there's better prices, better upside at 10,000. Um, Classic wouldn't pay 10,500 for him at cap. At 7,000, you could. It all depends on whether they push this game to a game five or not. Because you got to remember, at 7,000, if you post a 100-point lineup, that's basically considered a good payoff, a good return on your investment of $7,000. You know, um, so he could be a good play as well. As for Aqua As for Aqua at 9,800, I know he posted 131 points against Florida last game, and his price might be a little inflated. He was priced 8,000 against LAG the game before that, and he was also priced 6,400 before that against the Optic. So I don't know if these prices are like just inflated for Aqua. I'm not sure. I mean, he did post upwards of 100 points either both games he played, but I think that against the Toronto Ultra, I'm not sure if he could post up those numbers continually. Um, if you would have put him on your flex position, he would have actually paid off. You know, he's one of those players where nobody was looking at him. He would have paid off decently, I guess, but his cap price is too like it's too expensive. Like I feel like the teams that he played, like Florida, obviously, and LAG, like they're decent teams. Um, you could pick Aqua. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it, but you could. He might be a beast. I mean, he posted 131 FPS the game against Florida, posted 114 against LAG. If you give Paris Legion, like, if you let them play 2 games or if you let them win 2 games, they're mostly gonna all post 100 plus on their stat lines. The player I really like here is Fire. Fire is at 6,400 for his flex position, and I really like his price because the dude has some upside. He 125. Obviously, he doesn't have as much upside as Aqua or Scraps, but the guy has shown, at the 6,000 range, he can easily pay that off. Easily pay that off. He paid off his price when he was priced 7,000 against LAG. He paid it off. He posted 125 FP fantasy points. He was priced 7,400 against Florida. Even though they won that, they swept it. Aqua and Scraps took the majority of that workload, and Classic as well. So he had to only post 85 points. So he didn't pay off his value there. So they lowered him 1,000 against the Ultra, and I think that is it's kind of accurate. The Ultra are a decent team. I think they're pretty strong. I doubt they 3-0 them too. I don't think they're that strong of a team like that. But anything is possible at this point. Yeah, those are my favorite picks from the Paris side. The team prices: team 2,600 for the flex position, 3,900 for the uh, cap position. Never gonna use that. For Toronto, one of the players that stands out to me is Cammy. Cammy has like a lot of upside. This guy, his price might be a little too expensive, but he posted 142 against Florida. He posted 100 fantasy points against Optic. That's decent. Against Optic, he went positive. He went 85 kills and 80 deaths, so he went positive. He went positive against Florida as well, 102 kills against 86 deaths. Um, he's a decent player. I also like Kleenex at 9,000, and Kleenex. Honestly, Kleenex and Cammy are probably my favorite plays here. Kleenex, he threw a dud last game, absolute dud. He threw a dud, so 9,000 might not be a good price. Might not be a good price, admittedly. Methods has a 6,600 price tag on him for the flex position. Uh, I think Methods does have some upside. He posted close to 94 fantasy points the last game against Optic, so that's decent. At his price, that's decent. Okay, it's not amazing, but at 6,600, you know, they're priced like that for a reason. Well, Methods is. I wouldn't use him in the cap. He might have a good game against Paris. It's players like these. The thing I'm saying is like I think Ultra's gonna win, and one of these players is gonna have a good game, right? Because I don't think it. What are the? This is how I think about it. What are the odds that the Paris Legion comes out and 3-0 is a team again, right? Okay, very slim. What are the chances that Paris Legion comes out and humiliates the Toronto Ultra, who have stood up to every team, you know, and gave them hell? What is the chance that Paris Legion comes in here and destroys them? It's not high. So I know Ultra is going to take this maybe to a game 5. I doubt they get swept or anything like that. Um, who's going to be the workhorse? That's the question. It's either going to be Cami, Ultra, Methods, or Bance. Methods is the one with the best value here, and then Bance as well at 7,800. I think Bance Bance is a decent has a decent price. He Man, he's throwing duds though. Like his last 2 games haven't been really that good. Against Optic Chicago, he threw 35 fantasy points and 86 fantasy points against Florida. So I really wouldn't look at him. So honestly, realistically, the only players I'd be looking at here would be either Cami or Methods or Kleenex, but I just don't like Kleenex's price. He might be good play, but I don't like his price. I'm not confident too much because he threw a dud last game. But Cami, Methods, Kleenex, probably the players I'd be looking at in this team if you target this game. So that being said, let's move on to. Oh, and I almost forgot the lines for Toronto Ultra: -290 for Toronto, +205 for Paris. So there you go. Ultra's favored to win, obviously, and it's favored to go under 4 rounds at -240. So they think Ultra's gonna sweep Paris Legion. So those are the odds. With that being said, let's move on to the next game. So for the last game, we have a very exciting matchup. We have the Dallas Empire against the New York Subliners. What has changed from the first game these two teams have played? Well, if you guys saw the game yesterday, New York Subliners absolutely destroyed the Minnesota Rocker, which is the last team that the Dallas Empire lost to. So this matchup is going to be interesting. I'm pretty interested to see how it plays out. Have the New York Subliners struck a chord with each other? Are they a different team from when they played the Dallas Empire the first week? Are they a different team? Have they gotten better in like a week and a half or 2 weeks? That is what we need to find out. Um, the prices on the New York Subliner side definitely reflect their performances from yesterday, especially Asim, who went absolutely nuts. The dude was going off yesterday. He was going look at the screen. He was going 22-5 against the Rocker in hardpoint. Like the dude was just destroying. And then after this game, I think he went like 8 and something, search something ridiculous, 8-1 or something. Dude was going off. His price skyrocketed $1,200. Um, admittedly, I don't know if I'm going to have any exposure to any of the subliners guys because I just don't think they will replicate that against the Dallas Empire. I might be completely wrong. I'm not probably, but I might eat my words. Okay, like it's too early in the season to know if the Seattle Subliners are gonna be the real deal or if that was just a fluke or what. It's too early, but based on what we've seen, they have the upside. They have the capability to be a team like the Minnesota Rocker, and they have the capability to destroy them. Not only beat them, destroy them 3-0. So, you know, looking at the prices, I really like Asim, obviously, 8,800. If he can keep this up, of course, if he can keep this up. I also like Diamond Khan at 6,800. He's shown that he has upside and he can be a reliable player. He's posted up 120 fantasy points last game against the Rocker. Okay, he posted up 110 fantasy points against the London Royal Ravens, which they swept. So I think New York Subliners are the first team. Well, I'm not sure if they are the first team. The Dallas sweep. Okay, so Dallas swept them, and then I don't know if Dallas. Okay, never mind. Um, but the New York Subliners have swept 2 teams now, being the London Royal Ravens and the Minnesota Rocker. So, you know, have they struck a chord? Like I said, who knows? Diamond Khan being the cheapest player, he's a very reliable. If you have space or you need somebody to fill in and you need somebody with value who's very cheap and can produce and can give you a decent stat line, Diamond Con is the one you want to look for. However, this matchup, I mean, I could have said the same thing last game against Minnesota Rocker. Even though Minnesota Rocker beat Dallas, Minnesota Rocker isn't Dallas. I just feel like Dallas just had a bad series. They didn't get swept by Minnesota, right? But Minnesota just beat them. So it wasn't like it was a close one, right? So it could have gone either way. Dallas could have beat them, and then it would just been like, oh, okay, Dallas is way better. But Minnesota just ended up, beating Dallas 3-2, I believe. Um, in this scenario, I don't think the subliners are going to do the same because I just feel like they're not going to sweep Dallas. They're not going to sweep Dallas. Um, they can take it to the wire. We've seen what they got against this team that beat them, so we know what they have. Um, on the New York subliner side, Diamond Con, Asim, my favorite prices. I don't really like Mac. I don't think he's shown enough to consider him as like. I mean, he could prove me wrong as well. He's only 8,000. It's not too expensive. He um he threw a dud the first game against the Thieves, and then they played London Royal Ravens. He got 119 points. He did great. He only got 130 points against the Minnesota Rocker last game though. He only got 44 kills and 40 deaths. So Asim pretty much took all that to himself. He got 53 kills and 41 deaths yesterday. Um, he kind of threw in the the second or the third hard point. I think he did like a double negative, so that like caught up to him. But if it weren't for that, it would have been all Asim. Um, Clayster, Clayster. As for his prices, 9,200 being the most expensive flex player. He's been producing. Clayster's actually been like quietly producing for his team. He got 50 kills, 39 deaths last game against the Minnesota Rocker. He got 54 kills and 30 deaths the game before that against the London Royal Ravens, and he was even more expensive that other game. He was 9,400 last game, and now he's only $200 less. Uh, Judging by this guy, if you don't know him, he's a very dedicated competitor. This guy, his sheer just like emotion and drive can make his whole team just better automatically. And he's going up against the Dallas Empire, who, if you don't know, that was his team last year where he won the championship with. So he has drive. I know this guy's gonna try his hardest to beat this team. So Clayster for me is, he's playable. He's playable at 9,200 in the flex. He's playable. And at the cap two at 13,800, he's playable as well. So, look at him. If you want to use him, you can. I just don't know if he's going to have that same upside against a team like Dallas. Now, on the Dallas side, you are going to find the best play of the day in Dallas in Illy. He's being absolutely disrespected at 6,000 at the flex position and 9,000 at the cap position. I think Illy is one of the better players in the league. I don't know why he's this cheap. Um, he did he did only get 75 points last game, but that was against London Royal Ravens. He really didn't have to do much. He was at 7,800, and they dipped his price $1,800 just because he got 75 points against the London Royal Ravens. Okay, keep that in mind. He didn't have to do anything because his team was doing it all for him. Shotzi and Hugh were going ham. Uh, Actually, Shotzi only put 98 points as well, but I feel like Hugh took most of that load with him, with 99 kills and 82 deaths to his name, as well as Crimsix. Uh, I'm not sure what Crims's stat line was, but I know that just because they post those low numbers against those teams doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they play smart and they don't really have to, push everything. They don't have to chow everything. They don't have to like try to go for kills. They're a very smart team. That's why I like them so much, and that's why they're the previous champs. They're a smart team. Um, uh, Crim Six at 8,000 for last game was good. He only returned 88 points. Um, Crimsix now at 7,400. He's playable for me. I like him. Um, I just don't know if he has the upside for that price as much as Illy has upside for his price. So for this team, I would generally target Illy, Shotzi, or Hugh as like the core of players I would want to have. Um, really, almost every player in this matchup is playable. Like everybody is just great, uh, except maybe Clayster at 7,400. I don't know if he has like a good upside there, but everybody in this matchup is literally playable for me. You know, pick and choose. Asim might be a little inflated, maybe. If he keeps up this momentum, he's gonna be a beast. But with that being said, these are the three games we're going to see today. If you watch this far, thanks for the viewership. And remember that I'm going to be posting videos about the CDL every single day that there are games. Um, I'm trying to be a reliable source of information for Call of Duty in the daily fantasy sports space, or daily fantasy esports space, as you might say. I want people to be aware of this market. I want people to see that Call of Duty can actually make you money, not just playing it like the pros, but betting on it in Draftkings. And if it comes next year to FanDuel, and FanDuel as well. Trying to orient this channel in that direction. Hopefully I will support Halo and Battlefield if they ever decide to go into the competitive setting somehow. Any FPS that goes into DraftKings or FanDuel, I'm planning on support, as well as Valorant maybe next year. So if you like the content, you like fantasy esports, you like betting, if you like FPSs, you know where to find me. Like, subscribe, and thanks for the viewership. See you in the next video.